Hey guys, this is Valentine Lister giving you the weekly forecast for Monday, June 27th through Sunday, July 3rd. As you can see, I have a new setup here to show you a visual of the chart. Let me know if you like it. I started to teach astrology in the Mythology for Astrology video. And so I thought it would be good for to start giving you guys a visual if you want to learn astrology. The reason why I haven't put the chart on before is sometimes I think the chart can be a little bit overwhelming to look at if you don't know how to read it. Even as an astrologer, when I look at the chart, if I'm looking at someone's forecast, a lot of times I tune out the chart and just listen to what the person's interpretation is, because it's divination. It's about the interpretation of the person that's tuning into the energy. For me personally. But, I learned by watching people read charts too. So, and I also pull a card for each day of the week. So I look at the transits for each day of the week in this forecast to give you a feel for the energy and what you're going to be dealing with. And then I also pull a card for the summary. I think can also be a good visual to just have a card and image for what the day is going to be like. Then at the end of the video, I'm going to do a tarot card reading to give you advice on what to do. Like sometimes we have the energy, we know what's happening, but we're like, what should we be doing? Or what's the advice? Or what's the best, what's the best way to get the best or the most, I'm thinking the most value. Well, we do have the moon going into Leo. So that's all about value. But later in the week, first Cancer. So anyway, I'm going to be doing that. And so anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but let me get into the chart for the week and the transits. So first we have Monday, June 27th. I'm not in the Bronx, but this is where it went. So shout out to the Bronx. My mom's from there. But I'm from New Jersey, born and raised Jersey girl. So anyway, for Monday, June 27th, I was first thinking some emotional thinking because we have Mercury applying to the moon here. Whenever we have aspects from Mercury to the moon, you can think emotional thinking. Now, sometimes maybe it's not going to be as bad because Mercury is in his home. He rules Gemini and he's hosting the moon and Venus. So it's not too bad, but I did notice with the last moon Mercury transit, it sucked, honestly. I was super emotional. And plus we have the balsamic moon in Gemini. This moon is closing out the light here, moving to the new moon in Cancer, which will start tomorrow. Right now, for Monday, it's in Gemini. And so a lot of times, especially we can think of with the balsamic moon in Gemini, dark communication, information coming up. And actually it might be really good information, it might be amazing, or it might be really dark. Usually it's both, right? Mercury goes between the realms of heaven, earth, Hades, and so we see all aspects of life, and we see what we need to be dealing with. And a lot of times we have the wisdom to handle it, but there's this emotional feel to it. But we may make the best of it. But I think we're going to be fighting. My thing was I think there's going to be some positive aspects to this balsamic moon on Monday. But I think it's really just having the courage to fight for what we believe in. And after I was looking, I pulled the Seven of Wands. I was like, yes, we're definitely fighting for something we believe in. I was thinking even people starting fights, and the desire is intimacy or communication with people, or just to get to deal with these difficult things in our relationships, to smooth things over, or someone might open up to us really emotionally because they have a secret to tell us, or they want to deal with a conflict, or we have a secret to tell somebody. We want to deal with a conflict and something to improve our relationships, because we have all of these planets here in this air sign of Gemini, plus we have Saturn in Aquarius. A lot of times air sign does deal with relationships. We're dealing with ideas, we're dealing with communication. Who are we communicating with? We're communicating with other people, not just ourselves. We already know what we think, right? We want to connect, have structure with other people, and we do that with words and having a voice. So I do think with Jupiter here making this sextile to these planets in Gemini, there it's also squaring the sun. The sun is like where we're going. Um, like I think it's going to be productive. And like the also the other aspect was we have Saturn trining or making a sextile to Mars. Um, and it was making me think like we can deal with things. Like there's going to be something productive about the conflicts. Like if we have a conflict or if we have to approach people or work something out on Monday, I feel like we'll be able to like deal with it, air it out, like come to like some kind of productive solution. But I don't think it's necessarily going to be easy. I do think we're going to have to like be forceful, fight for ourselves. Um, hopefully we'll be able to do it in like a strategic way with this Mercury and Gemini. But at the end of the day, I think we're going to have to deal with difficult things on Monday, but I think we're going to have the courage to be able to deal with that difficulty. And then we're closing out a chapter for the month. And tomorrow we're starting a new chapter. So let me get into that. Okay, so for Tuesday, June 28th, we have this beautiful new moon in Cancer. Let's get the feels. And looking at this new moon, new start, I was thinking that we were going to have a new start that has this feeling emotionally loved and nurtured because we have Jupiter like almost in an exact square to this new moon. So whenever Jupiter here makes an aspect to the moon, it makes us feel good. It makes us feel connected, like life has meaning, like people are there for us, and we can have faith and trust that we're going to be taken care of. So that's like some pretty good stuff. And so my thought was like, we're going to be like children who can trust. We can explore, touch things, experiment. Have like emotional comfort. And like part of that, I was thinking it's not making an aspect to this new moon, but we have Venus and Mercury and Gemini, and that makes me think of experimentation and like trying out new things in our relationship. Like it's like we feel like we trust enough that we can explore and in a very tactile way, and in a very like sensual way. Like I just think of like Cancer as like I want to get up close to you, and there is like actually a very physical aspect to Cancer. Like the primary like objective is like emotional comfort, like but how do we get emotional comfort if somebody touches us, if somebody gives us a hug, if somebody like makes love to us, like we feel good, right? So that's my thought for this new moon with Mars in Aries, like also squaring this moon. We might have like some friction, some arguments. I don't think it's going to be completely smooth sailing because we do have Mars squaring the moon, and that's always like Mars squaring the moon is like emotional tantrum. It's like, the moon can represent children, right? And if a child gets mad, they're throwing a tantrum. They just care about how they feel. They don't really care about like logic or objective. And that's what tends to happen with Mars squaring the moon. It's making a very loose square. So, like, I don't think it's too bad, but, um, but that Mars squaring this new moon, sorry, I got to use this pointer and not just talk about it, right? So you can see like the Mars is squaring the moon. I mean, I was thinking like hot and fast, like summer love and friendship, activities, vacations, some like quick pleasure. And I got the King of Cups for this day reversed. And I'm thinking like part of the reason why we can trust so much is like we probably let go of some kind of like toxic relationship that we've had. We've said goodbye to something toxic. And like everybody I talk to has like cut the cords in some way with their relationships. Like as far it could be a romantic relationship, a friendship, a family member, but somebody who was like not good for you, not treating you the right way. And there's something about like we've cut the cord to that. We're making a new start with this new moon. Um, and we did a lot of healing. Like we're ready to move forward. Like there is something that can really trust. Like we can trust ourselves now. I think primarily like we have trust in like who we are, our ability to manage our relationships and choose people around us that are good for us and that are supportive. Okay, and then for Wednesday, we don't have like a ton going on, but I did notice that the moon is making a trine to the south node and a sextile to the north node. So I was thinking like on Wednesday, we're gonna have this like emotional drive to get as much like comfort and love and just like emotional pleasure as possible, like maybe connecting with other people or connecting to things that are really like comforting to us. Um, yeah, and just like trying to feel good, like having that drive of like defending our emotions. We want to defend our emotions, but that's like an easy thing to do. And then that drive to just like chill, kick back, relax, have like sensual, like physical comfort and pleasure, food, cook for ourselves, cook for other people, maybe have dinner with somebody. That would be super cool. Okay, but the only thing too is we have the moon, like Mars applying to the moon. So we may have a bit of that emotional tantrum energy, like that I was talking about yesterday, like feeling emotionally raw and wounds coming up. And so maybe we're like telling people to leave us alone, either leave us alone, like that South Node in Scorpio, like go away, let me do my thing, or that North Node in Taurus, where we're like, give me what I want, give me money, let the money rain down, or the food, or like the home, or like let me take a nap and relax, like that type of stuff. Um, yeah, and so like there is a possibility on Wednesday that we might feel all over the place, like not be able to think clearly. I have like I got death reversed for Wednesday, and looking at the card, I thought like we just don't know which way to go. We're like all over the place. Like there is this like feeling lost in our emotions and not like kind of not knowing which way to go. So I feel like it's going to be like a nice day to chill, just to like watch a movie that makes you cry or laugh or get the emotions out or play the music. Um, yeah, like Mercury and Gemini is great, but it's not making like a direct aspect to the moon. And this whole month, like we're gonna be like as long as this sun is in Cancer, we want to be like looking at where the moon is, because wherever the moon is, that's going to influence this sun in Cancer, and this moon changes, you're going to see like every other day. um and so any planets that are not seeing the moon or not supporting it, not really doing anything for it, they may be doing something else for us, which is cool. Like maybe we're meeting people, we're chatting with them with this Mercury and Gemini, making new connections, like trying some variety and stuff. But it's not helping this new moon to like think clearly. So like emotions are the key on Wednesday, and doing things that like help us feel good and help us soothe the emotions. Um, and like it may not be the best day to like pick up an argument or like try to get something from people, because we're probably not going to be able to think the most objectively. So I would wait like for another day for that. Okay, and then for Thursday, June 30th here, I was loving this Queen of Cups like when I pulled it, because that was the feel, like we are not like letting anybody out of our sight. We've got our eyes like a hawk on everybody, or somebody has got their eyes on us, which mm, that could be pretty nice too. Um, but yeah, so there's still this difficult energy of like we have Mars in Aries here, who's not afraid to get into it with people, tell them off, fight with them, now making an exact square with the moon. So this is going to ease up where we're just feeling, there might be emotional pain or really feeling like distraught this week, and fighting with people because we're not feeling like emotionally comforted. Although, like, the moon is in its own domicile, so maybe, I'm hoping it. I don't know. I'm not seeing like this is the worst week for like fighting with people or anything. But we will like. I think we will be like talking to people, telling people about our needs. We may cry about it, and just like put it out there. But I think on Thursday, we're going to have more of a strategy, like pulling in, like I was like, we do have Mercury and Gemini, but the thing that there's a secret conjunction happening on Thursday, which made me think, okay, this is not as chaotic as I'm thinking. Like if we are, if we're crying a lot, we don't know what we're doing. We've been feeling like we don't know what we're doing. We want people to be like, I don't know, like giving to us more or being there for us, or we want better in our relationships or something like that. Um, we're not all over the place. There is a strategy for it, like this Queen of Cups, because the secret conjunction here, let me show you. This is Mercury in Gemini here, 21 degrees about, and this is the sun in Cancer. So when these aspects are moving towards about 30 degrees, so they will move like, yeah, 30 degrees, give or take, right? It's what's known as an antisha. It's a secret conjunction. And this is really special because this is the first antisha of the whole year. I've mentioned like contra antishas, which are secret oppositions, secret difficulties. But this is the first secret conjunction where it's like things are secretly working out really well. And what does Mercury do? Mercury comes up with a clever plan. It's mischievous. It knows it knows how to play the game. It knows how to adapt and adjust. And, the sun in Cancer is all about this comfort and nurturing experience, like making connections with people and relationships in order to create comfort for them, to shine a light on them, to love them, and also to receive comfort for ourselves. So um, there's something going on here secretly where we're like, our goal is like pleasure, comfort, better relationships. And there isn't a strategy. So if we're having these like emotional tantrums, like there's a strategy to it. Or maybe we're being very like strategic about our emotions or something like that. Um, Something's working out for us in our relationships, even if it looks like we're crazy or emotional. Like something is super working, and we still have Jupiter here, squaring the moon. So there is like good stuff going on, but it may look a little bit chaotic. We have somebody with their eyes on us who's like super emotional with us all as well, right? This goes both ways with the collective energy going both ways. It's good for Venus and Gemini season. And somebody wants us. Somebody is like being emotional towards us and maybe wanting something from us, wanting us, wanting to connect with us emotionally. And maybe they're being aggressive about it, but maybe it has like a passionate feel to it too. So that would be awesome. I'm a big fan of passion. And then later on, let me move to, we're going to have the moon in Leo. Yeah, so I don't know, maybe difficult. Like when the moon's in the last degrees, look, it's in the bounds of Saturn right here. And some people call it void of course moon. It depends. I kind of say both. So it's like whatever. Like extra, this need extra to connect with people and be comforted, and could be difficult sometimes. But the moon is not actually making an aspect to Saturn, so that's good. Like it's not so bad. Like when it gets into Leo, it will make an aspect to Saturn. But I'm loving these moon in Leo transits because it's making this nice trine to Jupiter. And even if the moon in Leo it also makes a trine to Mars, but this is an easy aspect. So with a trine, like when, it's like a trine is like when we're relating all fire signs together, if you guys don't know. So it's a nice aspect. It's an easy aspect. But it doesn't mean we're not going to be fighting or conflict. Like Mars is fighting and conflict. It also can be like hard work and dedication and like being very active too. It's usually a mix of both. So we might have that like later on in the week, but it's going to go smoothly. Like we're going to feel okay about it. Yeah, so I really like this. Now, it may be a little more chaotic, right? Because we have the moon in Leo, but it's not supporting the sun. So there may be an aspect where the moon in Leo may feel a little more chaotic. Oh, and I didn't change the card, so I got the Ace of Wands, but we're gonna we're gonna feel our mojo. We're gonna feel spark and energy. Um, like like I'm feeling like we are going to start feeling. Oh wait, which day? Okay, no, I'm still on July 30th, so I'm like moving on to the next day. So um yeah, maybe I'm gonna move on to the next day. This is gonna carry like from Thursday to July 1st. So here we go here. All right, let me move this to July 1st. So this is like from like late Thursday into Friday, having this moon in Leo. It's like it's going to be making this beautiful aspect to Jupiter, and so I feel like we're going to have vitality. We're going to have like on Friday, like late Thursday, like early in the day Friday, like we're gonna have a nice day, nice time, like nice morning Friday, treat ourselves, like feel our inner lion, our inner war. We got this moon in Leo. Um, yeah, and I think we're going to feel vitality. We're going to feel like life is meaningful, feeling support from people, feeling connected, and having that be easy. And I think like really socializing with people, or finding love and beauty in our relationships, information, being exposed to different things and ideas. So sometimes like with like Mercury and Gemini, Venus and Gemini, it is more social with talking to people. But if you're more introverted, it could be just like a lot of times like consuming information and consuming information that's important to you, that recognizes your value as a person, your inner light to shine. So I just think, I mean, I think for the most part, we're going to feel like passionate, have a lot of like vital energy, but there may also be, we may also have like some serious conflicts with people. So, like I mentioned, if the moon's in the last degree is, it can be difficult. That's with any planet. It's like if you're moving somewhere or starting a new job and you haven't started, you want to end something, or it can be chaotic and we can fight with people because we're too tired. We know we're about to change. So we have this Mars in Aries, and you notice it's in the last degree is like 27 degrees. So like soon, I mean, Mars moves kind of slow, but fairly soon it's going to be going into Taurus. Not the greatest because it's going to like lose dignity, but we'll deal with that another time. But it's in the bounds of Saturn. So it's in those last degrees. And so it's going to get extra vicious. So we may see, there is the capacity sometimes like for like violence, hostility, conflicts, recklessness. Now, Mars is in its own domicile in Aries. So the good thing is like we'll probably have discernment around aggression or fighting with people, conflicts, or the way we work, the way we're active, but it's going to be extra intense. So you may see people's dark side coming up. It may get extra intense. Like we'll see. Oh, and yeah, and also like um I don't know if I mentioned this for Monday, but that was like what like I covered like the thing for Monday, like the feel for Monday. Saturn is sextiling Mars, so like that's like that productive energy. Also has a sextile to Venus and Mercury, the moon. So hopefully we're like putting out all of this forcefulness and aggression and new spark and energy into something productive. This castle is like sticking out to me. So something productive that we can build that's really like proactive. But there is that part that could maybe just demolish people and destroy them as well, and we'll feel okay about it, but maybe other people won't. So I don't know. We'll see. Okay, and then for Saturday, July 2nd, I was thinking there's going to be, we may feel like down or difficult, isolated or restricted, right? Because we have the moon in Leo here, wants to shine its light, be like, this is who I am. I'm amazing and you're amazing and we can do it. But it's opposing this Saturn in Aquarius. So it can restrict the moon, make it feel isolated, alone. Like we have to deal with things on our own. And like, because on the other hand, Saturn is like, okay, like, we have to deal with like the reality of like people, right? In this social Aquarius, or ideas or ways of doing things that's going to support everyone. So we can't just shine our light. We have to think about, you know, that like Saturn is like winter. So how are we going to survive like these difficult things that are coming up and times in our life? And like Saturn's not encouraging. Saturn's like, you better work. And the moon just wants to um be comforting and nurturing. So that part is difficult. But okay, we have Mercury making a trine to Saturn. So that made me think like we come up with something like clever or fun. And in a way, like I was thinking where like we could physically build something because we had the Ace of Pentacles come up. I was like, okay, I was like, okay, I'm right. Like we're coming up with something like physical resources, like practical resources, innovation. Like we're talking about like with the Ace of Pentacles, physical earth, right? So I'm thinking like this cleverness of Mercury and Gemini, plus the savviness of relationships here with that Venus in Gemini, being able to talk anybody's pants off right there, making this trine to Saturn that, yes, difficult things are coming up. We feel restricted, but we come up with things that are super cool and amazing. Plus, Saturn is retrograde. That actually isn't always the best thing, but it's like we're more relaxed about our plans. We're more like, all right, maybe we can do things this way. And this is super innovative. And this is something that's going to be like supportive to us. Because that Mercury is supporting this moon and being like, hey, moon, don't worry. Like, Mercury's like, we can figure this out, moon. Okay, from me to you. And, you know, we're also making this nice aspect of like Jupiter and Mars to both Saturn, Venus, Mercury, the moon. So we may feel emotional. We may not know exactly where we're going, but there's like a spark. There's something, some idea we come up with that can actually like really do something for us. In a very like practical, physical, like, or tangible way. And sometimes this is not just money or job or home stuff. It could be food, it could be relationships, it could be people that are valuable resources for us. And maybe we get that because I was thinking like this like moon in Leo, it's all about demanding our worth. And like I said, we have this extra aggression, right? We have Mars in Aries and it's trine, making a nice trine to the moon. Um, so it's like maybe also like just demanding things and being held back by people, but we're fighting for ourselves, like we're fighting for our worth. Um, and we're doing it in a clever way and in a productive way where we can really make things happen. So it's difficult, but there's like also this room for fertility and there's also this room for like starting to see our worth or starting to see something tangible that we can do that's really going to give us like that physical like oomph. And we are really going for that because also this moon, I'm just looking at this here also, it's squaring the nodes, right? So it's like defending ourselves, but also gaining value, also gaining resources because we're worth it. Okay, so for Sunday, July 3rd, we're moving into the like waxing crescent moon. So the moon's starting to gain light. It's not at the first quarter moon or anything, but this is the phase of the moon here. And the moon is gaining light when it's on the left side of the sun. If you're looking at a chart, if you don't know that, if it's on the left, it's gaining light. If it's this, like going this way, it's losing light. And this is where we have to push forward and be brave, especially with Leo. Leo is such a brave sign. It's like, let's move forward. Like, let's do this. Let's let's push forward no matter what. Because that's what we're meant here to do in life. And we have to live our truth. So the worst is past, like we're past the worst of the Saturn moon opposition. Like things still may be difficult, but we can face them, we can deal with them. But then it's also it's going to make, I don't have it here, but it's going to make an exact sextile to Mercury. So we're going to be okay. We can face things, we can deal with them. And we're not afraid to fight for ourselves, to fight with people. We've got Mars trining the moon. So it's like, we're okay with fighting with people. We feel good about it. It's meaningful because we have Jupiter trine the moon right here. So we'll be okay. And then it goes later. The moon goes later into Virgo. All right, it's going to enter into Virgo. Move it over here. And this made me think like on Sunday, we're going to come up with things that are productive or comforting or practical actions or solution. Like we're developing whatever happened yesterday on Saturday with like that new opportunity or new start. And we're like building on it today. And I got Saturn reversed. I'm like, Like, what does that mean? Sometimes it can mean like we don't want to face things or deal with things. That might be an aspect with like the moon in that like waxing crescent. Sometimes we're a little afraid to start things. Like we have to push ourselves forward, like push ourselves to do things. But this actually made me think like we can face it. There's just something about Sunday where we're going to review things. We're going to like review what's working. We're going to review what's not. That's part of, we have Saturn in its own sign of Aquarius. I use traditional rulers if you haven't noticed by Sunday, by my forecast on Sunday. Anyway, so it's retrograde, right? And so that's like, Saturn retrograde is about reviewing like what structures are working, what's not, what restrictions are working, what's not. We don't want to restrict ourselves in the way that we're doing things and like coming up with like new and innovative ideas with Aquarius. We don't want to do that if it's not working. It's a waste of our time. It's a waste of our energy and resources. And Saturn hates a waste of time and energy and resources. And Saturn actually, like, even though it's a malefic sign, it cuts things down. It is all about growing things. It's all about cutting things away so that things can grow. Because we think about the harvest, right? And like we dig into the ground, we sow things, we cut things away, like we prune the weeds out, right? We kill bugs so that something can grow and so that we can survive. And so now we're like, what things do we need to keep doing in order to survive? What things are like, what things have been difficult for us or restrictive to us that like we don't actually like really need to be doing all that because it's just not necessary. All right, guys, so that was fun. I'm going to get into the reading for the week and see what to do with all this energy, right? We get thrown so much for each day, and it's like, well, what is it all about? Like, what do we do for this week? So I'm going to give you some advice. And so as I'm shuffling the cards, just want to give you guys a reminder that if you like these kinds of videos and these forecasts, just make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified for when I release a video. So I do this forecast every week. I also teach about tarot, astrology. I'm getting deep into mythology for astrology. Teaching you the myths through, or teaching you astrology through the mythology that the Greeks and Romans used to use back in the day. That's how people learned about these spiritual concepts. And it's fun, and it's something that does speak to something deeper in our soul, I feel like. Also, I do readings for people. And so if you want to know more about that and know more about me, you can go to my website, valentinelistard.com. All right, give these guys a good shuffle. I feel like we need a little more shuffling. Yeah, I'm feeling like we're almost there. Almost there. All right, so let's see what the energy of the week is. Okay. Ooh, King of Wands. Oof. Okay. People be fighting this week. Okay. Ooh, looking at cycles, I feel like of like karma and things, and patterns, and like finding a way to break through them. I feel like, okay, if we engage with people, it's because there's like a pattern or a cycle that we're wishing to stop. And that's why we're putting ourselves out there. We're putting our heart out there to other people in order to grow. And yes, it's going to be messy and fiery, but I feel like there's a big focus on healing like these toxic patterns. Like this week I talked about like there are like relationships we've stepped away from, and like toxic patterns we want to get rid of. So now like we're engaging with people, but I think it's like in an intimate way. Like it's a fiery way, but it's a way where like we're really connecting directly with people, really trying to get through to them, like as much as we can, as much as possible. So I think like people are going to be fighting with us. They're going to be engaging with us. And there's this thing of like, look at your crown, look at your worth and your value, and that we're not just like creating conflict with people for no reason. We're doing it to come up with like better ways of doing things, I think. And that's a good thing, right? So we may get into it, but it's like for a good reason and a good purpose. And it's to improve our relationships, improve our connections, with others, and to break a cycle, to break the way we've been doing things, to have love in our lives and worth, and to really like feel value deep in our souls. Love that. I forgot to mention, I do put an image of these cards at the end of the video if you want to reflect on them. And let's see what else we have. So situations that might come up this week. Oh, wow, we are really looking like very deeply at ourselves. There's something deep going on here, but we may not see it. Like, okay, so we have this Eight of Cups reversed. We may not see how deep we're going. Let's see. Yeah, we just don't see it as clearly, but we are going emotionally deep. I think like there may be this aspect where we're looking at the surface of things. Like we're looking at the surface of what's going on. Um, there may be some fighting conflicts, or we may be like working really hard. We may be like exercising really hard, or starting a new project, like working on things, like really like just getting into it, or really active, right? Really active and meeting people too. Like could be all those things. But there's a deeper purpose to us. And maybe it's like, maybe there's a part of us that's just like going out and having fun and not really thinking of things too deeply, but there's something very deep about keeping things, maybe, there's an aspect of keeping things on the surface or keeping things light. Or maybe we're going really deep and maybe it just looks like emotional chaos, but it's not. There's something very like productive and something that's working. And we're looking at these internal emotions, and like we're starting these new relationships, like we're starting new relationships or new things, and it's a new start for us. And so it's going to be messy, like when those doors open and allow us to move forward and make breakthroughs, it's really awkward at first. It's like a child walking, excuse me, and like they're going to stumble. They don't know exactly like where they're going, but they learn by walking, right? We learn by doing things. And so we're learning, I think, how to relate to people, how to connect with people, how to nurture people, in a really brave way, in a really new way. I think we're scared, but we're not that scared. Like, I think we're brave enough. Um, yeah, but it's going to be awkward. Maybe we're like, we don't know exactly what we're doing, but we're brave. Like we're being brave, and there's like real internal shifts going on, in the way we relate to people and connect with people, especially emotionally. But it is like this internal process. We're not really seeing it on the surface. Like on the surface, we're seeing this guy, right? Really feisty, aggressive, energetic, or really driven. But inside, there's this like real sensitivity and like reflectiveness and beauty going on. So that's awesome. Okay. All right. Why this situation's coming up? Yeah, this reading is like coming together. Like it's all making sense. So we have the Ten of Cups reversed. So wow, like this is really about, it really is about changing toxic patterns or changing family patterns or changing relationships so that we can have a better life, that we can have like the love of our lives, have something be fruitful and nurturing and beautiful. Like having love and romance, having beautiful relationships. Um, yeah, like I don't know, this came up like what's like coming home to our dogs and just like like just having that fullness, like, oh, okay, the dog's sticking out, the loyalty, like having people coming home, having that love, that romance. Maybe we're dreaming of children or family, or having wisdom when we're older, or being around like wise people, but really having loyalty and dedication from the people around us, and not in a draining way where it feels like work, like in a way where it feels natural and nurturing and soothing. And we really just know people are there for us. Like there is the real like emotional security component, We're changing these patterns because we want to feel emotionally secure. And yes, we'd like to see physical things like a home, a family, like an actual person that we connect with. But at the end of the day, we want emotional security and nurturing. And like everybody, you guys have been so brave. Like I feel like everybody I know, and I just like feel the energy of all of us have been so brave in our healing and facing really difficult and hard things. And now it's time. I feel like we feel this like little sprout growing up from the ground, like this little tiny green piece of life growing in our hearts. Um, and in the way we connect to ourselves and love ourselves, and in the way we connect to other people. Like there's something so amazingly like beautiful about this week where something new is growing. Something new is growing in our hearts, um, and creating something new and being brave in love, in our relationships or with something that we love. Like maybe it's like a hobby that we like to do, a job we like to do. Maybe we want to move somewhere or travel. Um, we're like got our little legs, we're like, we're going, we're walking. Yeah. Ooh, I like, yeah, I think this is nice week. Okay, so the advice for the week, we have the Magician upright. Nice. Okay. So the Magician always can mean all kinds of things. Ooh, okay. Yeah, the advice, bring heaven down onto earth. Like bring your passions and desires, bring your dreams and hopes for um like being creative or healing or feeling love, like this beautiful love in your heart. Bring that down to earth. Really give it roots. Like really give your dream roots. Give your everyday dreams roots. Um right? Like I'm seeing like from the Magician, like we have like these big dreams to the small, right? And so like in our heads, like it's like sometimes what we dream of, like it's not really like practical and grounded, right? Like just it's so big. So right, it's like we're just gonna have everybody around us that loves us, and we're gonna come home and just like have $1 million and have a mansion. I don't know, like whatever. Um, but like I'm just thinking of like we dream of the love of our lives, like we dream of having this big love in our lives, but then it's like bring it down to earth. Like exactly does that mean? What does that mean for you, like when you come home at the end of the day, or like before coming home, like your whole day, like your whole life, like what does that actually mean, to like to just have this like love in your life, this beautiful love in your life. And part of bringing that down is really having self-love, really feeling your value and your worth, and not getting it from, like, not seeking it, I should say, because you can get it from other people, but like not seeking it from other people, but really knowing like no matter what happens, you love yourself. And that is all that matters. Like you feel good about yourself. You are there for yourself. You can rely on yourself. Um, and that's what matters. And it's like, what really brings you joy? Where is it that you play and you have fun and, can like experiment in your life and feel like a child and feel like playing, right? We're like children with this new start, is what I'm seeing, like with changing these big patterns. And I love that like changing these big patterns is as simple as like feeling like a child and feeling playful and exploring. Like just thinking of like Mercury, right? We have Mercury the Magician, like this childlike, like let me just play and be mischievous and like tinker with things and figure things out. And then just thinking, I'm thinking of the moon energy, right? Because we have that new moon in Cancer, can also relate to children and like being nurturing and comforting. And so there's real like childlike energy with like when we have like the moon in Cancer, we have Mercury in Gemini, and feeling like a really playful, like um and adapting to change and adjusting to change. And it's like, yeah, breaking these, sorry, I'm like going all over the place, I know, but breaking these big patterns in such a simple way. Like it's as simple as like, what do we want to do right now? Like, how can we play with whatever we're doing? Like maybe things seem serious, but maybe we can like bring out our Mercury self and like be mischievous and like kind of, I don't know, I'm thinking like mess with people, like poke at people playfully, you know, this like playful Venus and Gemini energy, like really play with people or play with what we're doing and not take it seriously and just goof off. Like, how can we goof off more? Um, in a very intentional way, in a way that we're playing, in a way that we're being playful. So maybe it also eases up this energy of like fighting and stuff, or in this like deep work, like inner work and emotional work. Um, where it's like, how can we play with this? Like, how can we be up in people's faces and like make them laugh or make ourselves laugh with the ridiculousness of life and just experience it and tinker with things and just having the curiosity of like, if I do this, what will happen, right? Not looking so far ahead, but it's like, what if I just do this right now? Like, this would be kind of fun. Or it's like, oh, I've never done this before. Like, this seems a little scary. Like, let me just try it. Let me just see what happens. Like, let me experiment. There is a big call like this week to experiment with things and play with things, and be in different roles that we haven't been before. Like the moon in Cancer, I'm thinking is like different roles, like different identities. Like she's in different identities because the world is always changing. Like throughout our day, like our emotions, our thoughts, our situations just change constantly. And so we're different people. So how can we just shift in those different roles and play and see life as a game? And I think the outcome of the week, what I'm seeing, like we have the Five of Cups, and I'm thinking of like the ability to make a transition, the ability to move forward. I feel like this card has come out before and has come out reversed, and we're not able to move forward. So I feel like the outcome of the week um, is like setting our sights on the horizon and being able to move forward despite difficult things. Like I think we are going to experiment. I think we are going to feel ready to move forward. Um, with our difficulties, I feel like we are crossing this bridge and making a new start. And even though like there may be some sad things, right? We got Mars in the last degrees. Um, you know, there may be difficulties, there may be fighting, hostility, conflict. We may have our emotions spill all over, but there is hope because we're breaking cycles. We're coming up with new patterns and new things. We're working on ourselves. And we have worked on ourselves. And now is time to reap the rewards. And now is the time to move forward. And it's going to look very messy. And that's awesome. That's perfect. Let it be messy this week. Be a child and play. That's all I have for you guys. I'm going to turn the camera over for you to look at these cards, and hope you guys have a great week. I'll be thinking about you, and I love you.